Hello, everyone. A few hours ago, I came across this video which was uploaded by Nas Daily. It's called The Shipping Trap. Now, I don't normally do reaction videos, but for this topic, I felt it was important that I should share my take on this. As some of you may know, I am a chief engineer who works on a cargo ship. And I've been in the maritime industry for over 20 years. And not just on board ships, I've been through the various facets of this industry: sea based, land based, education, training, manning. I've been around. And while I don't claim to be an expert on all of the topics in my industry, I believe my credentials will give some weight on what I have to say. So let's get on with it.
3 hours away from me, in that direction, there is a ship that broke and spilled oil in the ocean in Mauritius. 7 hours away from me, in that direction, there is a port in Beirut that exploded, killing 150 people in 1 week. Two tragedies happened. There are many reasons for them, but today I want to focus on just one. Ships! They are more dangerous than we think.
Of course, they are. A ship is a mechanical beast. It's pretty much common sense. Any vehicle or any machine has the potential to be more dangerous than we think.
Let me explain. In today's world, if I want to own a ship, the process is too easy. First,
No,
I
it's not.
buy the ship. It can be old, it can be used. Then, I start a shell company. I put the ship under my company and I register the company in a foreign country that I don't live in, like Panama.
Okay, what he's referring to is called flag of convenience. Now, there are many reasons why ship owners register their ships under flags of convenience, and not all of them are evil reasons. But let's watch a bit more.
And just like that, my ship is legal.
Not really, no. It's actually not that simple. Yet the way he describes it, it's like you can just walk into a government office, pretty as you please, and say, "Hey man, I want to register my ship." And then the clerk tells you, "Okay, just fill out this form, pay the processing fee, stamp, stamp. Here's your certificate." It doesn't work like that. Among other things, the ship and the management company must undergo an initial flag state audit, which covers a lot of requirements: safety management system, ship security, environmental protection, basically operational procedures that the ship's crew needs to implement, which is all in accordance with SOLAS, STCW, and MARPOL regulations. In addition, there is the Classification Society audit, the purpose of which is to verify if the ship itself is seaworthy and that the hull, the machinery are safe for operation and will be able to comply with existing international regulations. And those are just the basics. There's also the P&I. For tankers, there's the SIRE, the CDI. The list goes on. Bottom line is, it's not as easy as he's making it out to be. Anyway, let's proceed.
I can sail in the ocean, I can avoid taxes, I can ship anything I
No, you
want.
can't.
And if I don't care about safety and my ship crashes and destroys nature, it's not my
Of course
responsibility.
it is.
It's the company's responsibility that I registered in Panama. So good luck trying to sue me.
Okay, I think he's been watching too many Hollywood movies with corporate conspiracy themes, involving shell corporations and offshore accounts and stuff. And the way that he says it, it's like he's insinuating that ship owners are some kind of, I don't know, evil supervillain group or something. It doesn't really work that way when it comes to the maritime industry. In any case, even if the registered owner is an anonymous shell company, the ship's managers and operators who are acting for and on behalf of the owners, they are definitely not anonymous. They're the ones who hire the ship's captain and crew. They are in charge of the ship's day to day operations. They're the ones who sign charter parties for the cargo. And these operators and managers, they know who the ship's owners are. So when some catastrophe happens involving your ship, you will definitely get served.
This is oversimplified, but the problem
shit.
is obvious. The shipping industry is unsafe.
The shipping industry is unsafe. Again, I've been in this industry for over 20 years. I never had an accident, never had an oil spill. Sure, it happens. But before issuing a blanket statement, I guess you have to make sure that the batting average is quite high.
20% of the world's ships are registered in one country, Panama. People choose Panama because it's too easy. There are not many rules. You can be anonymous, you can ship anything, you can do whatever you like.
Most definitely no.
And because there's very little safety regulations,
Wait, what? What did I just say about STCW, SOLAS, MARPOL, and all the other things needed to certify the ship? This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
you get disasters. For example, in Mauritius, the ship was heading towards the island for many days and no one noticed.
Wait, what? That's not possible. And I've read the initial findings in the news, and what he's saying right now, that's definitely not how it happened.
It crashed in the corals and spilled tons of oil in some of the rarest marine life in the world. The ship!
Now, that is a tragedy what happened to Mauritius. I've actually been to Mauritius a few years ago, and I was able to go around and visit some of their tourist spots. Beautiful place. Seeing this is just heartbreaking.
Is owned by a Japanese company, but it's registered in Panama. No one knows yet who is going to pay for the oil spill.
Now, that is definitely not true. The owners have already come forward and taken responsibility from what I read in the news. And it really doesn't matter if it's a shell corporation because, like I said, everyone in the operation knows who really owns the ship. He even said it himself. It was a Japanese company. And they never said, "Good luck trying to sue me." Anyway, I don't want to comment just yet on how this incident happened because things are not 100% clear. I believe the responsible thing to do when making statements is to base it on facts and not hearsay or something you read in Wikipedia.
So for now, the locals have to clean their own beach.
No, that's not what's happening
In
right now.
Beirut, the explosive material was in another ship that was considered unsafe. So the owner left the ship in Beirut.
Okay, so that's another wrong information. Based on the reports that I've read, the ship was detained by port authorities in Beirut because of violations. And apparently, the cargo was eventually offloaded from the ship and was stored in a warehouse in the port. And it stayed there for many years. Not on the ship, but in the warehouse. Trying to put the blame on the ship is like blaming the butterfly effect.
And a few years later, the cargo exploded, killing 150 people.
Again, this is a tragedy of epic proportions. My heart goes out to the people of Beirut.
Don't get me wrong, I love ships.
Wait. He loves ships. Let me read the description of his video. But it says right here in his opening statement, I had no interest in ships. And now all of a sudden, he loves ships.
90% of everything that we own was shipped. But this week was a wake-up call. If you want to put a ship in the ocean, if you want to carry oil or bombs in our ocean, you should be responsible for it.
Now that, I agree. That's the key word here, responsibility. We must be responsible for our words and actions.
Not your fake company in Panama or Liberia. You should not avoid taxes, hire cheap labor, and use old ships just to save money.
Hire cheap labor. You should not hire cheap labor. Okay, actually, one of the reasons why owners register their ships to flags of convenience is for them to be able to hire ship's crew from different nationalities. Case in point, Filipino seafarers. Compared to some other nationalities, we Filipinos are considered to be cheap labor. But unfortunately, the ugly truth is that it has more to do with discrimination rather than knowledge, skill, and efficiency in this profession. But don't even think for a second that I am inferior to my counterparts from other countries.
Right now, the people of Lebanon are crying and the nature of Mauritius is dying. Let us make our oceans, ships, and ports safe for everybody. See you next week.
Okay, now, I believe that Nas made this video with good intentions, but unfortunately, he failed to do a thorough and credible research. I'm actually getting the impression that he actually believes that it's easy to own and operate a ship and you can actually just pluck people from the streets and put them to work on ships. So basically, he's talking about something that he knows nothing about, while appearing to be an expert on the subject matter. I've seen many people calling him out in the comments. A few familiar names actually I saw were captains and ship managers who have years and years of experience in this industry, and yet he refused to back down and even posted a link to his source from Wikipedia. Now that is a genius move if I ever saw one. Again, I normally don't react to these kind of things, but what he's doing here is very dangerous. He's a very big influencer, and people who watch his videos who have no idea about how the shipping industry works will readily believe whatever he says and take his word as scripture. Like I said earlier, the key word here is responsibility. Those of us who are privileged to have a platform should use it responsibly because people may be influenced by what we say, even if what we say is totally wrong. Now, let's go back to what he said in the video.
If you want to put a ship in the ocean, if you want to carry oil or bombs in our ocean, you should be responsible for it.
Now, I don't know about you, Nas, but the way I see it, you making false statements and trying to pass them out as if they were truth, inadvertently damaging the reputation of industries and entities, it's no different from a ship that pollutes the ocean. You should be responsible for it. Now, it's true that the maritime industry as a whole has a lot to improve on, especially now during the pandemic. And We ourselves are pushing for these improvements to happen. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate your sentiments. We actually welcome any help we can get. But unfortunately, this time, you were barking at the wrong tree. A little more research from credible sources would definitely go a long way, and maybe, just maybe, if you hit the right chords next time, you might actually be able to help.